Women outperform all male teams by 63%. They return 35% higher returns to their investors. Less than 2% venture capital goes to women founders.
Lay out the plan, how they should look at fundraising.
You have to have a lot of grit and determination. It's hard, it's stressful. It's not all fun and games.
What are the steps that they should be doing as a women founder who are first time raising funds?
They should get great advisors. Who's advising them? Especially important at early stage because every dollar counts.
One red flag you spot quickly in early stage startups.
Not asking for enough money. Sometimes the founders will have 6-month runway and they're raising $500,000 and I'm like, why not 2 million?
Welcome back to Pitch Fund and Scale Your Startup Masterclass in small practical doses. Being a founder, an operator, did exit, an advisor, and now an investor. Cindy, welcome to the show. So Cindy, let's talk about accelerating angels. How many LPs do you have in this angel group, and what type of checks do you write? What type of company do you invest in?
Well, we have over 40 investors now in our fund. We heard that less than 2% of venture capital goes to women founders, and we really were shocked by that low percentage. And so Accelerating Angels launched in 2022.
So Cindy, what is the check size for Accelerating Angels to write?
We invest average of $100,000 on each.
So why women-led startups and why it is a smart business? You have been very vocal about backing women-led startups, and I 100% agree to that we need to bring women founders upfront, invest in them, and then write the results. Why does this matter from both an impact and a return perspective? What has been your experience?
Yeah, it's not about just giving women an equitable opportunity. Women outperform all male teams by 63%. They return 35% higher returns to their investors. They create great business cultures, put together great teams, capital efficient. Typically, I feel like and statistically, organizations that focus solely on women-led companies have a little bit of an advantage over other investment groups just because of these things alone. So I think that women are a great bet to invest in. It's not that we don't do our due diligence, the same process as everybody else for any type of a company. It's just that we like when women are leading, they run a tight organization, especially important at early stage because every dollar counts. They don't have much runway before the next round, and they have to be efficient, especially at the beginning of their funding.
Right, absolutely right. So what patterns do you consistently see in strong women-led companies? More capital discipline, customer focus? What is different? You gave me a data set that 65% of the women founders are more effective than the male founders. So what do you see? What pattern have you identified so far?
Well, you definitely, to be an entrepreneur in an early stage startup, you have to have a lot of grit and determination. So we look for founders that are maybe if they're a first time founder, like who have they surrounded themselves with? Who's on their team? Who else is in there? Who's advising them? So I look at their advisors as well, but they have to have a lot of grit and determination and know-how. The team is the most important part of that we look at and when we invest, and it's not just because it's a woman leading. It's a woman leading effectively, and she's got a good head on her shoulders and has that grit that you need as an entrepreneur.
So let's talk about the wealth shift, getting more women to write checks. There is a massive wealth transfer happening globally, be it here in the US, in India, in Europe, everywhere. What role do you see women playing in the next generation of angel investing? Is that about untapped capital, confidence gap versus capability, education as an unlock? What it is? When more and more women investors are going to enter the ecosystem, how it is going to impact the early stage founders, be it a male or a female or a women-led companies?
Well, when I'm talking to a group of women investors, I typically say the companies that we invest in are going to be the companies that are solving problems that we see as a female gender in the world, where it's always typically been the male perspective, right? So we're bringing that save the environment, all the things that helping children, a lot more things that are our priorities. We're going to be investing in those things. But the great wealth transfer, more women or have their own wealth and inheriting wealth from their parents. So there's definitely going to be a shift. And I think it's that educational component that our foundation is supporting to try to educate more women and what impact their dollars can make, not just in giving to charities, but also by investing in private companies as an alternative asset to diversify your overall portfolio. So we need more women writing checks for sure.
So I'm going to talk about two type of mental barrier. Let's talk about a mental barrier that stops a women founder to become a founder. Yeah, you must have met with so many founders, and they were taking time to jump and start something of their own. What are those mental barriers that prevents a women founder to really become a founder very, very quickly?
Yeah, well, that's one of the things we address in our boot camps and when we work in one-on-one with founders is overcoming that I'm not good enough and I don't have the skills and I don't have the ability, I don't have the networks to raise money. So overcoming some of those gaining confidence is one of the things we work on a lot. And I think in the past there hasn't been a lot of role models for women to see that, and we're gaining more and more. There's more and more CEOs and women in CEO roles than there ever has been. I can't remember the statistic, but it's growing every year. And so having more role models and more people, more women showing other women what they can do and supporting other women is a way that our gender is going to get used to that and educate. Just it's really through education and awareness, but getting these founders to realize that they can do this. They need more role models.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you are having boot camps to educate women founders to really jump into entrepreneurship. So it is a great thing that you are doing and helping the ecosystem. So kudos to
And
you.
my own daughter is, I have two of my three children are entrepreneurs. One of my daughters is a aspiring angel member, and she's learning about investing. She's not at that wealth threshold yet to invest, but I think that giving other women a hand up and an education and experience is important.
Very nice. Now, the mental barrier for a woman to become an investor. What are those mental barriers? I'm not ready kind of a mindset.
Yes, I think well, it's not been our traditional role, right? We've been taking care of kids and families and as our role, but it's changing and as we'll get over those barriers and get used to it, but it's about education. And I think women are a little less or more risk adverse and so just getting more comfortable putting dollars to work in a different way rather than giving to charity, which we're very good at. Watching, and I think maybe they're afraid to fail, and if they lose money and if a company goes out of business they invested in, that's just getting women over that risk and getting used to taking a chance is probably the biggest mental barrier that we see. But I mean, I have not had trouble raising this fund, and not all of the people in our fund are women. A man gave me my first check for the fund, over coffee, and so it's just going to take some time and education.
Yeah, you're right. So, Cindy, let's talk about the term angel investor.
Yeah.
We proudly call ourselves, are we just the check writers? Or what in your mind is an angel investor? What do they do other than writing checks to be called an angel, not just an investor who just wrote a check?
Well, yeah, you and I both know that that angel term came from Broadway, right? As keeping the Broadway shows open, those angels came in and wrote checks. So it is about writing checks, but I think in the world that we live of angel investing, a founder will start with friends and family money. They'll drain their savings account. They'll hit everybody that they know to help them launched and started. And we're typically the next money that they raise, right? Pre-seed to seed and even Series A, we're in there in the trenches with them, giving them some money, but also I think angels have a great opportunity to sit on a board, even as a board observer, to see what's happening with it, for the founders to rely on us as a friendly person to bounce ideas off of, to open doors for them, to give them some of our expertise and knowledge, and so that they could tap into that. I think good founders will tap into their angel network and their and ask for help and get guidance. So I think that's one of our other roles, is to be involved and not to be in the way, because you don't want to take up their time. They have a lot of work to do, but to be available to them, to check in with them regularly, to see if you can't open doors and make introductions.
So, according to you, one red flag you spot quickly in early stage startups or early stage founders?
Yeah, one of the red flags I see is not asking for enough money. Sometimes the founders will have like a 6-month runway and they're raising $500,000, and I'm like, you're in a high growth industry and trying to scale your business, and is $500,000 going to do it for you? Why not 2 million? Why? So that's kind of a red flag to me if they're not raising enough. Also, overinflated valuations, of course, is another thing that we kind of look out for. And sometimes people call the red flags if there's a married couple running the company. I don't see that. I say you're the right person in the right position. And so it depends on whether the husband or wife is the right person for the job. So I don't see that as a red flag, but a lot of people do.
I think they're more committed. If both of them have started a company and slogging it out, then they are more committed to me.
Absolutely. I mean, that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort. If you don't have your spouse on board with you, you're in big trouble.
Yeah. One trait you see in fundable women founders.
A trait. Well, I think I said grit earlier, but that's
Yes.
grit and determination and hard work. I mean, it is hard to start a company. I did it from the dining room table. I know. I had my children helping me stuff envelopes for mailings. I mean, it's hard. It takes a lot of your time. It's stressful. It's not all fun and games. It's just really a lot of hard work. So I think you have to be prepared for that.
One myth about angel investing you want to break. Myth about angel investing.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't have to be rich and famous. The person next door could be a accredited investor. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people like, I didn't know I could be an angel investor. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. One mistake new angels often make.
Oh, let's see. Probably investing in with their heart rather than their head. I think you get caught up in the product. Oh, it's solving a big problem, but I thoroughly scour the data room before I make an investment. The data room that the founders put together with all their financials, their projections, their financial models, cap tables. I mean, I have to like a founder and be confident in them, but that is not. I don't get the honeymoon can wear off pretty quick if you do it that way.
One thing that the women founders should do before approaching an angel group or in any founder before approaching an angel group like yours.
Well, they need to really be prepared. And that means knowing your numbers. You got a valuation. How did you come up with that valuation? You better explain it. It's not something that you just pull out of thin air. Knowing your financials and understanding what kind of funding you need and having that equity round plan in place. Really just come prepared. Have your deck in order. Have your data room in order. Don't ask for money if you're not ready to open up your books and show them exactly what you're doing and what problem you're solving. And if you can't articulate the problem and the solution, that's a big red flag too.
For someone considering to becoming an angel investor, what advice would you give for them to get started right away and today?
Well, the whole way we organize Accelerating Angels kind of supports this answer. But if you get in with the group where you can tap into other people's expertise, that's, I think, the easiest and probably more confident building way to invest. And we made our minimum $25,000 so we could make it a little bit more affordable for a fund. Most funds are way over $100,000 to get in. And I guess joining and collaborating and co-investing with people is probably the best way to write the first check.
Yeah, yeah. For women founders who are starting their fundraising journey, what advice do you have for them? Lay out the plan, how they should look at fundraising, and what are the steps that they should be doing as a women founder who are first time raising funds?
Well, I think they should get great advisors, putting together your equity plan, making sure you have options for your employees. If you don't, I mean, how can you raise money and hit milestones and then not know where you're going to go next? I mean, not that it ever necessarily plays out exactly how you have it planned, but definitely need to roadmap your equity plan and make sure that you hang on to as much equity as you can. That's really important to our group, that the women end up with 30% or more equity. So having a plan in place that plays that out so that you end up having, for all that work that you put into a company and to exit with no money, I mean, that's one of the things that we really expect our founders to protect.
And some of the other advice that you would like to give or that you teach in your boot camp to early stage founders, what are the pitfalls, what they should be looking for, how to find a co-founder, how to valuation is another thing. First time founders have a very hard time coming up with a valuation. I have met with founders who are saying that, hey, my CPA tells me that this should be the valuation. And I don't like that approach, that a founder is dependent upon a CPA to tell what the valuation should be. Or how to raise money. What would be the best vehicle? Is it going to be a price round, or do you want to do it on a safe note?
I would say get a good advisor. A company that we partner with in our boot camp is Book and Street in Columbus, Ohio, and their whole business is about helping people find the right people for their companies, co-founders, CTOs, COOs, and also putting those equity plans in place. But I would say it's interesting, getting your lead investor typically is the one that puts those term sheets together. So, but if you don't have an overall idea of what your equity, the stages that you're going to go through and to get to where you need to go and get to your exit, you can't really put those term sheets together very effectively or negotiate them very well. So that my advice is to make sure you have that in place before you go fundraising.
Cindy, a founder who is willing to come and approach you, how they can get in touch with you or how they can get in touch with Accelerating Angels?
Yeah, well, our website, acceleratingangels.com, is our website. We have a place for founders to come and they can read what our minimum investment criteria is for our fund and apply.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Cindy, for your time today. Truly appreciate talking to you, gain a lot of knowledge about Accelerating Angels. And for the women founder or for a company who has more than 30% ownership with a women founder, please go and apply to acceleratingangels.com and be a part of Cindy's portfolio. And the registration link and the updates will be below in the description of this podcast. But Cindy, thank you so much for coming to my show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.